Hey, doggy. Ah, good boy. This is like every English major's dream. In case you guys don't know, I am an English major. However, since I have graduated from college and started a full-time job, I have not read as much as I've wanted to. I've read maybe 3 books since I've graduated college, which was about 2 years ago. It's been a year and a half since I graduated college. So I went to the bookstore because there was this cute bookstore that my town has, and I loved it. It was so adorable inside. But this leads me into wanting to talk about things that I want to do in my 20s. But first, before I talk about that, I've been waiting for Petco to get this collar back in stock. They finally got it back in stock today. It's this leather collar. I bought Archer a bandana, this one, because it's real cute. So come here, Archer. Hi, Archibald. Sit. Sit. Oh, what a handsome fella you are. Will's gonna love this when he comes home. Back to what I want to do in my 20s. So I've actually been reading a lot about things that I want to do in my 20s, things that I want to compile, and because I have this like really big FOMO. FOMO stands for fear of missing out. It's not necessarily FOMO with friends or things like that. It's FOMO with life. I'm really worried that I won't get the most out of my life. That might not be the most logical thing to have fear of, but I really have this intense desire to live life to the fullest, to take the most of every opportunity that I am given, and I really want to be able to live by that. So I've actually created a list for myself and I wanted to share them with you guys. It doesn't have to be just your 20s, it can be your 30s, your 40s. I am currently 23 and therefore I've made this list for myself for when I'm in the 20s. Currently I don't have kids, currently, even though I'm dating Will, technically I'm single. And so I'm still available and able and have the funds to do some of these things. The first one is to read more. Now, as I explained in the car, I am an English major, and since I've graduated college, I have not been able to read as much as I want to, and I don't like that because I think there's so much knowledge that comes with reading, regardless if it's fiction, nonfiction, biographies, anything like that. There's so much knowledge that you can learn from that, which leads me into knowledge because I want to be more knowledgeable. I want to invest in myself, be able to invest in knowing and learning more and never stop learning, regardless if I'm in school or not in school. I want to still grow mentally, which comes with reading. So I want to be able to start reading more. I really got into self-help books. I have found those really interesting. This one was the first self-help book I ever read, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. That book actually got a lot of like fads and things like that. I actually was never aware of the fads or anything like that that came associated with that book. I just picked up the book because I liked the title of it. And actually I ended up really liking it. I think it did wonders for where I was in my dating life at the time. I read that while I was a senior in college, and it has a lot of good goals actually for young women who are dating and like self-respect and things like that. So regardless of how you feel personally about that book, because I feel like there's probably some conflicting emotions towards that book, I found that to be actually very helpful for where I was in life, and I took some things and I wrote some notes down. This over here was my second self-help book. This one was The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and the sequel, which was Spark Joy. I love The Life-Changing Act of Tidying Up because it did great things. I was such a messy person back when I lived at home, and then when I moved to college, I was so messy. Stuff everywhere, and don't get me wrong, I still am messy to an extent, and I'm still not always as clean as I want to be, but that helped me do a huge life clean out of everything that I've been hoarding or holding on to, and helped me let go of some of that stuff, things that I didn't need anymore and I didn't want to throw away because I was like, oh, I might need it again one day, and it really helped me just let go of those things, and I have a much more fulfilled life, I feel, because I'm not cluttered with all these things that I don't actually use anymore. I have other self-help books that I have on my Nook or things like that, but nothing that's like I would want to put into this video that I view as outstanding or has helped me progress. As you guys saw earlier today, the next book I'm going to be reading is Prince Charming Isn't Coming, How Women Get Smart About Money. I picked this book because I have to admit that I am not the best when it comes to money. I do budget, I do put money away, but especially with dating Will, who was a finance major, I kind of rely on him to tell me things about money and best in financing and best in investing. And you know what? I don't want to rely on him. I want to be able to make sure, not because I don't love you, Will, but it's just because I want to make sure that I myself am making smart decisions. And we'll see how this book goes. You know, maybe I'll make a review on it after I'm done reading it. But we'll see how that goes and see if it helps me in any way, shape, or form with money. So that was actually all about goal number 1, which was just reading more. Number 2, I want to take more time for myself. So I used to do this a lot more when I lived at home. I definitely had more time for myself. I wrote in my diary every day. I did things that I enjoyed. Since I've worked full-time, have not nearly done that as much. Definitely started in college, I did not take as much time for myself because I was always doing things with friends and having fun, and then when I wasn't having fun, I was trying to study. I have not done that in a long time, and I want to take at least 15 minutes a day to take time for myself to help with my mind and my well-being there. Ideally, I want to bump that up to 30 minutes, but we're gonna start with 15 minutes just to get myself started. 3 is I want to save more. Now, I was so bad about this in college. I did not put money away into savings. I super regret that. Even when I first started my full-time job, did not put money away into savings, still super regret that. It wasn't until I moved to Kansas that I actually realized the importance of putting away savings with money and starting my retirement. I started finally saving for retirement, and what I did was I automatically just scheduled a money into my 401k so I couldn't even see it, so I never even knew I had that money. And I'm super glad that I did that. Since I bought my Jeep, if you guys follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you will know that I bought a Jeep not too long ago, probably like 3 months ago. Since I bought that Jeep, I've been really bad about putting money into savings because I now have this car payment that I never used to have, and I want to be better about that, and I want to be able to put money into savings because when those emergencies come up or when any kind of bad situation happens, I want to be able to make sure I have that money that can go towards that and not be worried if I get hit with a financial crisis that I'm not going to be able to afford it. Number 4 is I want to travel. Now, I've actually did a pretty decent job with this in my 20s, but I want to continue it, which is why I've added it to the list. So I've been to Greece, I've been to China, I've been to Burma. So far, that means out of country, but I also want to do traveling within the States. I'm from the East Coast, and I love the East Coast, and I've traveled all up and down the East Coast. So I'm from South Carolina, I've traveled to New York, I've traveled to now Kansas because I'm living here. But then I just took a trip to California, which I really liked as well. So I want to continue traveling because I think there's so much you learn from traveling. You learn about culture, you learn about different types of viewpoints, the way people live. I think there's just so much you can actually experience with traveling, and I want to continue doing that. I don't know where my next trip is going to be. Actually, I do. It'll be my next deployment. But besides my deployment, I don't know when my next trip is going to be, where I want to go, what I want to do, but I want to go ahead and start saving for that so that when I do eventually make that decision to travel there, I'm going to research it and be ready to take on that new adventure because I'm all about adventure. Number 5 is showing my loved ones that I care. I think I do a decent job about this. I am pretty good about calling and texting my family. But it's not just about family, it's about my friends who have been there in my past, that I want to make sure that even though I have this job that I work all the time and that I don't get to call or text them as much as I want to, that they still know that I do care about them. So one of the ways that I've done this, and I'm going to cover up our addresses here, but I've been writing just letters to my friends from back home that I still really love. And then I actually have done this before, but I want to be better about it. I have like different types of stationery here that I use. I used to do that, I think, right when I first moved out of college and got my job and I moved to Virginia for a short time. I definitely did that then, but I've gotten out of the habit of it, and I moved to Kansas about a year ago, so I haven't done it since then. So I've been making an effort to show my loved ones that I care. It doesn't even matter if it's a gift or not. I do send small gifts in the mail, but just even a letter, I think, tells people that, hey, I'm thinking about you, and just because I'm busy doesn't mean that I'm not showing you that I still value our friendship. The last one, I'm so bad about this, but 6, reading the news. I did do it a little bit in college. I got that newsletter, The Skim, in my email, and they still send it to me every day. I'm just really bad about actually reading it, so I want to read it. And the reason why I like Skim is because, from what I understand, it's an unbiased website. It takes both accounts of both parties. It just gives a brief synopsis of what happened, and if you want to read more, you can just click on the link that's provided underneath the synopsis, and it'll take you to the actual site where I got it from. But it's a nice short blurb of what's going on within the world. And like I said, I'm so bad about reading the news, but I really like that email website, and I've gotten out of it and I want to get back into it. So Skim, I'm going to be reading more of you. So those are just the 6 things that I kind of want to do in my 20s. I want to read more, I want to read the news, I want to learn, I want to travel, I want to be well-rounded, pretty much is what I'm getting at. I think that's just the biggest way I could say it, is just to be growing. I don't want to stop learning, I don't want to stop being a better person. Those are just some of my goals in my 20s. Like I said, if you want to take some of these and put them as some of your goals for your 30s or 40s or however old you are, if you're in your teens, but just to keep growing.